Yes, so DJ Jojolo, you've been a DJ for a while now, man, and I've been partying with you from my youth. How come you keep current like this so long, man?
Well, current is, if you want to call it current, is following the trends of what is what's considered likable and not getting too caught up in what you think the music could be and should be like, and just accept what the new artists are coming out with. As far as their style, their belief in what sounds good, and a lot of the music they're coming out with is nice, jazzy, and I appreciate that. It's just their approach to what soca and where they want soca to go,
Right,
and that's how I keep up with what's current.
right. So tell me a little bit on how you become a DJ and
Well, this was a love affair from ever since I was a little boy back in Trinidad, and um, it started with in the late '60s. We in the community center in St. Paul Street, right? Not too far from where I grew up.
right,
On Saturdays, during '60s, late '68, '69, '70, I left Trinidad in 1970. But those 2 years, a lot of events used to go on the weekends. Saturdays, whereas the big DJs at the time, DJ Big Man City, Fat Man George, Gabby, and all these DJs would be playing in the center on Saturdays. And during the day, they would be setting up. So I would go over there and kind of peep what they're doing as a little boy. And, I became fascinated with it.
mm,
And that's how it started. And from there I kept up with whatever current music that came out that you could afford,
right,
because in
right.
them days was 45s,
Yeah,
and that's how it started. And then when we emigrated to the United States in 1970,
right.
um, I ended up going to junior high school and running into some friends of mine that I knew in Trinidad, surprisingly,
Right.
and we started hanging out. But we all were into the music, the cultural music, plus the R&B, because at the time the Jackson Five and those groups, the Four Tops, the Temptations, those were it.
Right.
And the love affair continued through the different genres and trends and experiences of the music through the '70s. The disco became a big trend. We got involved with that, and a lot of funk music, Trinidadians were listening to here. As a little boy, I used to sneak out and go to the events, but what kept it, fresh is that my mother and my stepfather, they were promoters back in those days.
Right.
So you find that we used to have events in our house in the basement, because
Okay.
back in them times it was basement party.
Right.
And guys like DJ Scobie started in playing music in our basement.
Okay.
Conrad Gemont, Black Beauty Strogan, a lot of these DJs used to play music, in my basement. So that in those years, I used to be able to be downstairs with them with the events going on. But I was the courtroom man. But that's where the DJs were set up. So I was getting all my schooling and things from them guys.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but it has to be a love affair with this thing, because it's many years, as I mentioned, the time span.
Right. Right.
So as it coming down to forward into today, and how it has been, I've had wonderful experiences with promoters giving me opportunity to play music in their events, and I continue to try to provide a style of music different to everyone else, because I like drums. I've always been fascinated with drums, so I try to incorporate drums within the rhythms of the soca music itself, and I even add some R&B in the mix,
Yeah.
to kind of keep a balance of different genres of music being played. and using the same drums as a way of enhancing the sound of the music. So again, it's a love affair. You can't. There's nothing else that you could say that would give you the motivation to continue to do something like that. But I mean, I don't do it as it's not my life to say I have a job,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a hobby that I put a lot of time and effort into,
Right.
and I love the results.
Right. So let me ask you, how you making out in this COVID thing, boy?
Like some others, we try to find different medias to kind of get still remain relevant,
Yeah.
and current.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, DJ friend of mine, Mr. Desmond in Trinidad. He's a DJ on WAC Radio, and we met at an event that I played in for Brooklyn Legends a couple of times. And we kind of hit it off as friends, as DJs, and then becoming, associated and friends. And so we used to share,
Right.
music and, different ideas. And so when this thing came about, because this year, we actually played for Peter Minshall or band.
Right.
We were on the same truck.
Okay.
So we had a nice little experience together, and he was saying,
Right.
man, next year it seems like we're
Yeah.
going to be doing this and that and the other. But as you can see, the way how this COVID-19 came about,
Yeah.
next year isn't too much of a guarantee right about now. But hey, we have to be optimistic.
Yeah. Hoping for the best.
But then getting back to what took place, Desmond put together an internet radio station called MrDesmond.net, and of which we do, he does programming Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. And he asked me to come on board, and I eventually started doing some time slots on Fridays. Sometimes when I'm asked on Saturdays and Thursdays, every other Thursday I do a jazz session on the station. So that is what kept me going throughout, this COVID crisis. The Friday night is every Friday night from 8 to 10. It's called Friday Night Pop-Up. The jazz is Jazz Thursdays, every other Thursday with DJ Jojolo. And what we do as a special to support promoters who normally would have been having their events throughout, the summer season, we kind of, we kind of gave them the opportunity to take us their Saturdays, and we would allow for their promotion to be what's featured on that particular night.
Right.
So this Saturday it happens to be the Black and White event, which is East 42nd Street backyard that has been going on for over 20 years. And so I've been fortunate to be playing for them for a few years, about 5 or 6 years, consistently. So I asked the promoter if it was okay to go ahead and promote it as an event, and he said, yeah, sure.
Right.
Because typically this is like this event is a private event, whereas the promoter is the one that gives tickets, more or less, invites to people to come to the event, and with that ticket you pay a fee,
Right.
which is less than if you would be coming without the ticket.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. We've been getting some good responses from if you could focus on what the website looks like, you could see all these dots kind of represents people who are logging into the station and listening. Right. So it seems like we have listeners all over the globe, in some parts of the globe.
Right.
That you probably wouldn't think people listen to soca, but that's not true.
Right.
But yeah, that's basically what goes on, and this show comes on at 9 p.m. tonight.
Right.
It features Jojolo and Mr. Desmond, and we hope the listeners enjoy. what we put together for them.
All right, good, good, good. So at this time here now, we get you a chance to big up any DJs that you like to big up out there.
Well, listen, I think the fraternity of DJs, guys like, I remember Scooby is a guy that I admire very much because, listen, at his age and he's still good. I mean, I wish that I could have that kind of, energy to be able to do what he does. The new guys, Spice, GB, Back to Basics, those brothers. I mean, Desmond, as I know. I mean, there's so many that come to mind. Foreign Bass. Who else? Anonymous. Let me see. My friend Ezra. This guy I have known for about 40 years, and that relationship spans started with music, and it maintained it, the music appreciation as well as the friendship itself. And this guy approaches researching music better than anybody else that I have ever known in my life to research music. Any song that I would probably fall short of trying to remember, I remember this song, I would call Ezra and I would try to, give him just an idea, and he would come up, oh, it's this one, and I'm like, yo, how you remember that? But, it's just the mindset and the attitude for the music. I have to say, I have to give credit to that brother for, and back in the days of Wire and Ash Hyper Freak, there are a lot of DJs that came before me and will continue on.
Right.
But these guys, they influence Dagger even. They influence Mike the Magician. You keep going back. They influence the style of Caribbean music.
Right.
And DJs learn from DJs.
Right.
There's no one that had that niche that they were individual and they doing nothing from nobody else. There's no way, right? So again, those are the guys. I mean, I may have missed out because if this goes somewhere and some YouTube or something and people see this and Jojo boy, Jojo, forget me boy, this kind of it. It was not intended. I apologize. Under the current conditions, I mean, I'm trying to recall as many as I could.
Right. Okay. All right, man. Bless up, man, and appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, giving we a little knowledge about the music business.
I appreciate it for the exposure and everything, man, because it's something I really don't like to do,
Yeah,
but it's cool. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care. Bless up.